another raid on Marcus Garvey. I mean, I guess the police do from time to time. And the fact that somebody was shot. And then, I mean, like later on I heard that actually there was a fatal incident, that the person did actually pass the flesh.
On Wednesday, the 13th of April 2011, South Africa witnessed the epitome of police brutality and the result of National Police Chief General Pierre Khele's policy of shoot to kill. Similar to the murder of Ras Champion community activist Andries Tatani during a service delivery demonstration in Vicksburg, Free State, was shot with 2 rubber bullets in his chest and was severely beaten by a number of cops and later died. The murder of Ras Champion, along with the killing of Andries Tatani, are part of an epidemic of police violence and murder against community activists supported by the South African government.
And then he turned from here and started to run, and I started to run and he ran after him.
They wanted to arrest the children in the creche because at the back of the creche, there was in somebody's yard, they had found trees of ganja. So now they wanted to arrest the creche. Even the teacher slept in police station that day. He says, no, you can't take the children.
And we are telling them, but no, you cannot take these teachers because they are responsible for these children and their parents are not around, they are at work. So how are we supposed to do now if they come and they find their children neglected by the teachers? So we cannot allow you to take the teachers.
So what had followed, what him and other police, they hold the man, they know that they're strangling, this was pulling, but they were more than the man because they managed to overpower him and put him down, and then he shot.
When the pressure is on, we can't feel it. We not surrender.
It's the old story of excessive force, you know, police coming into a community not having any respect for people's ways and their culture, you know. How can a few Rasta people, I mean, who's talking and who's, you know, voicing their resentment, how can they be a threat, I mean, to a lot of police officers that got guns, all of them? The culture of the slaves and of the slave masters in the Western Cape has been to keep the people docile, and that they did by introducing the DOP system. And because the growing of vineyards is now one of the major industries in the Cape, whereas we all know that the vineyard was imported to South Africa. So you find that there's still this suppression of the indigenous culture as opposed to, and now the introduction of this European culture and the fact that is protected by law. You can't imagine yourself a raid taking place on a posh wine estate because they're making wine, which ultimately results in people abusing their children, hitting their wives. But that is not the problem of the winemaker at the end of the day.
By the Ras Champion there on top, you know, if you take a walk there by the crash.
Miss again, come from them start boss breath, some man stare at them. All of them beginning with them bikini. Traffic go show up like say them they are in a TV. We see the young boys, them in a Lamborghini.
And where them come from?
What side? From there, from this corner, from here in front there.
And you sitting here?
I sit in here, my lord. Well, I start to run there. They come from there also shooting, my lord. I ran in the bush. Yeah.
There's this confusion about there being live ammunition, or it being rubber bullets, or some form of some other ammunition. How many times was the eye shot?
I've been shot thrice, like in my up arm, shoulder, and here.
So you were obviously not shot with live ammunition.
Not shot live ammunition.
Yeah.
But the one who shot the brethren without to be a rubber bullet, because a rubber bullet doesn't produce a wall in your skin.
Penetrate. Yes.
That is when you see in X-rays, they will show us two walls. That's why it make us to see no that was not just a rubber bullet, was another kind of bullet. Hey, I just found home, and I mean, something tell me I must leave South Africa. You see, I come from Angola, but there was war, you know, but the war was never a threat for my life, you know. But yeah, just the police, right, they say law enforcement, they become a threat for I, you know. If you don't run, you can have, I could even been killed.
Yes, your mission was to uproot the trees, the ganja tree. Fair enough. We're not standing in your way. But now, why you shot that man? In what way that man was violent to you?
Champion, that's 4 days, they're around there.
They wanted to put youths in the van.
Yes, they had Quantum, yeah, park last year, my lord. And doors open to a lot the system and the youth.
Building up a temple, building up the temple for the Lord. Building up a temple, building up a temple, building up a temple for the Lord.
So just because the president went to the assistance of the youth, yeah, I mean, like, and he was just protesting the way that these officers were handling the youths, he got shot.
You see, the police are very brutal to us. The way they conduct themselves, they undermine us, and they're very brutal. And that's what we are crying for, because we're looking at if we're the ordinary citizens, why our rights, why people undermine us.
The pressure is on, we can't feel it. We not surrender, we not retreat, and we will overcome to fulfill our needs.
Yeah, I have to tell them this. Come back with a shove fire upon the wicked them. With all them coke and crack, I get sick again. Look at them, 13 years old children.
Why are we here, brothers, man? It's because of the brutality that was take place in our community. For 3 days back, my brother, we've been seeing more than 60. You see, police officers come with martial law in our family with dogs and all their efforts, you see. So we found now, let's stand up for this thing now and for all. Now we start now the revolution of this thing now must been ended, this thing, you see, of being brutalized, you see. How can this democratic government, man, he can't set us free with our right because we have community. So what that means, as a Rasta people, so we have a platform now to exercise our liberty freely in South Africa, you see. According to the constitution, must protect us. So they lie to me. They say there is a stability and security for all South African citizens. Where are we gonna get that? Because we are citizens, but we don't see that stability. We don't see that security. Ever since this country was in freedom, we don't know that. It's the same attitude unto us. They kick our door, they still harassing in the street. So we don't know about this freedom they are talking about. We never tasted that.
The force and the powers that be wants us to believe that we are in a state of emergency, with the intent of imposing a state of emergency that would give police excessive powers of invasion and intrusion. And once you've been linked with crime, then that in a sense gives police, you know, all the reason to deal with you in the most severe and serious method. Marcus Garvey is not functioning under a state of emergency. That means that all constitutional guarantees are in place, and when the police come in here, they must respect the people of this community. Are we saying that because people are poor, they don't earn respect? The ganja is not the problem. The conduct of those who carry guns and weapons over those who don't, that is the problem. And that is what we have to address, because there is no need for excessive force when it comes to deal with Rastafari, because Rastafari do not pose that threat.
We don't come for any brutality here. We come to protest against police brutality. And I need to show Babylon that though Anna is angry, but we are orderly people. So we must not behave like they behave. We must not provoke them like they provoke I and I.
This is the time now for the poor and the marginalized to rise and to come together and to, to rise beyond their differences. But then we are mindful of the fact that destruction of the poor is their poverty. It's very difficult for people to rise towards spiritual awareness, my brother, if you still have to worry every day about food, clothes and shelter,
That day, they shoot 3 people. One of them was shot here, one of them was shot in the head. Is West the one who was shot in the eye? Where's with that man? Was that man, even when the man was running away from a police and he hid behind the car, the police choose to go this way and shoot the man, and they shot the man in the head. As we speak, the man is in hospital. We've got one man who is a victim twice, and he has done nothing.
Do you suspect, perhaps you, the Rasta community now, suspect that or believe that this person was shot with a live ammunition? And perhaps are you saying that the police are trying to hide something?
Then we see that 2 bullets, but 1 bullet has ripped his lungs, right? But the information I got from a doctor earlier on, he says, no, the bullet is survived. It didn't hit the heart. It just passed the heart. So now, when we ask him now, ask the man directly, what happened? The man says, that man put a gun here. He said, is it a bullet or is the gun? The man says it's a live bullet. But what is interesting, the man have taken to the X-ray and things, but the doctors can't establish what type of ammunition is there. The doctor said, they eased him up and he rested for a while, but at about 1, it started again. 1 in the morning, started vomiting blood, and the others, they observe it's coming out of his nostrils and coming out of his mouth. So the doctors, they say they tried to resuscitate him, but he collapsed, and they tell him we did whatsoever we can, but we failed.
And then when I got there, I found that there's plenty of blood on the floor, and the eye, he can't even breathe properly now. He's saying that there's something that is compressing him. He can't breathe. And when I got there, I tried to put him on the side that is wounded so that he can stop the wound. But he couldn't breathe even when we're doing that. Then we let him sleep like on his back. Then he started to talk now while he's on the back, talking things, crying about his children, that they don't have a mother, they don't have, if he dies, who's going to take care of his children? And when they forced their way, the sisters told them, but you see, if this was in Constantia, you wouldn't do what you're doing. It's because you see that we are black people and we are living in shacks. That's why you are coming in and forcing your way in here. Because if it was a Christian Constantia, you would have respect. And we as teachers, we've got nightmares after this thing that has happened here. We've got nightmares. Children come, their mothers come every day to report, but at night my child wake up and cried. But the police, they shot me. They're shooting me, Mom, I'm gonna die. Every day we're having that thing now. And when the children have to tell stories, their stories have police and guns and all those kind of things. It's like the police don't think that they don't see us as human beings. I don't know why. Yeah, because our rights have been violated since day one as Rastas here in South Africa. I don't really get what is going on, It's painful what is really happening.
Unfortunately, there are so many incidents of this kind, in the country, and police keep on getting away with these type of incidents.
In South Africa, this thing is not supposed to happen because that is a threat for society. Police become a threat for society, It's not police become a keeper, a protector,
Rastafari, when he ascended the throne of Ethiopia and became Haile Selassie I, played within the emancipation of Africa. That whole story, if that is centralized, if that is taught within mainstream education, you find that there'll be a greater understanding for who and what Rastafari people is. You understand? But then centrally, it's like the important is that Rastafari have to look towards themselves, because the only cultures that survive are the ones that constantly evaluate themselves critically. The one that is willing to address the challenges that face us as being members of a human race.
Don't move up your position, Rastaman, don't move. Show them like how the system dread, we come in dreader, we flash in dreader than dread. Rasta